All right, welcome everybody to our October Tech Talk Live. I'm Steve Armstrong.
I'm Rick Herber.
We're glad you're here. This is going to be a quick session, 15 minutes or less, and so you won't have to drive down here to face this time. Hopefully we'll get that wrapped up really quick today. So there we go. Rick, what's going on?
Okay, well, we just want to cover some of the basic stuff that's taken place and give you guys an update. So I'm going to get started, and the first thing I'm going to start on is Land School. So many of you are using Land School. Some of you have not been using it yet, but you may down the road. What we want to talk about as far as Land School, there are two components to Land School that we'll utilize. There's the monitoring software, which will allow the teacher to actually see what the students are doing on their machine, their laptops. And then there's also some blockers for like websites and some applications that you can block on. But the other side of it, there's an instructional piece that's tied to it where we can utilize some of the functionality for helping out with some deeper learning tools. So one of that would be, for example, you can do some teacher to student peer review, and then students can actually show or demonstrate what they've learned on the Land School through the Land School in order to complete what they need to do there.
And if we have anybody new, Rick, just explain what is Land School. What is that tool?
So Land School is that monitoring software, like I mentioned before. How that takes place is if you're in an elementary school, your teacher with their room number will have a channel, and the carts that is in that room will have the same channel. So when they turn it on and you access it, it'll be connected.
Great.
At the middle school level or the secondary level, that's going to change a little bit for us folks. So how they're going to connect is, in the past, we built class lists. Well, we're moving away from class lists at the secondary side of it, and we're actually going to move towards what they call a dynamic list. That dynamic list will allow us, to actually access what classes that we have, and it will preload all the students for us at that point. I'm working on a screencastify, which I'll have up by the end of Friday evening, so folks will be able to access that through our technology resource page.
And the reason we're changing the middle school, and we met with the high school earlier, was because as your students switch from one teacher to the next, that allows them to bring in a new class and exchange a new class. This year we're piloting 1-to-1 in 3 schools. Next year we hope to have a lot more, so you'll definitely need that dynamic list.
Sure.
There's a question on the chat
that
says, they heard it's not working. Is this correct?
Well, what happens is Land School is depending on our network. And if there's anything that takes place within our network, that could have some cause to it, as well as there's a new client that's available and a registry hack that we're going to implement. That's supposed to help keep the machines more awake, where typically what you'll see is it'll say missing student. So when it says missing student, that one of 3 things could happen there. The machine could be shut off, they could have disconnected from the network, or it could have went to sleep.
And Rick, I want to point out, they don't have to do this registry hack
they
thing.
don't.
It's the network technician in the building that
We'll
would
do
have
that.
to.
So there is also a newer client version of Land School that's going to be rolled out. We're in the process of building that package now as well.
I wish they'd come out with this new version in the summertime, and then we'll have it ready to go for the start of school. But not everybody thinks the way we do.
Correct.
All right. Good. All right. Over to me now?
Over to you.
Okay, good. So for our elementary teachers, we have some iPad news. The first part of that is saving passwords. And so we've had a lot of teachers ask us, can we save the students' passwords, especially in the K2, so that we don't have to type those in? And I'm going to show you how to do that today. So I'm going to go over to my screen here, and this is my iPad screen. What you're going to want to do in the top right here is click on the settings, wherever your settings in your gear is. And then over in the left here, we're going to scroll down to passwords and accounts. Now, mine might look a little bit different. But in this second line here over on the right, you're going to have an on-off switch there. So what we want to do on the student iPad is you want to turn that on. And then what that's going to allow your students to do is when they go to websites that need to save their email and password, it will now allow them to save that email and password. Particularly our science curriculum, it ties in with Clever, but it doesn't authenticate to Clever. So it won't get any usernames or passwords from Clever. So this is where you'll want to save that. Then when you go to, the student goes to that website, their email address will appear above the keyboard. So this allows you to save that password in there. One mention, though, that we need to make is teachers shouldn't be using student iPads as personal iPads. So if a teacher were to get on a student iPad and they typed in their banking information or anything like that, it would save that password. So hopefully we don't have that happening. I would hope that the teacher in that class would be using their own password. So in the case of shared devices, I probably wouldn't turn this on. It will give you, if it was only 2 students, it'd give you both email addresses at the top of the keyboard there. So you could choose that, but I don't know if I would use this in a shared environment. But if it's only two students to 1 iPad, you might be able to get away with it. But if it's 5 or so, I wouldn't do it then. And then, so that's how you save passwords for students in your iOS. Another news we have on iPads, as we get into using, and we mentioned this at our last meeting, iPads really in K2, there's not that much of a need in 3 through 5. And so we're going to be collecting 3 through 5 grade teachers' iPads. If they have an iPad, we're going to collect them at the end of the school year. Not the end of 2019, but the actual end of school year 2020. So in June, when school's out, we'll collect those, and we're going to use those. We really found a need for class sizes that are fluctuating. Levon Scott called me the other day, and they've got a spike in students. We need more iPads there. We're going to use these as backups and fill-ins for when you guys have them go bad. So just kind of a heads up on that. If you want to tell your 3 through 5 grade teachers, iPads are being taken back for you guys at the end of the school year. We want to make sure, though, they have a Lenovo, a touchscreen device that they can still do any apps that they need a touchscreen device for. One of the other things that I wanted to share in the opening there is this integrated, this is an app real quick that I use. I'll flip over to that screen. Is called classroomscreen.com. This is a good countdown timer app that you can have on your monitor in the classroom. You can add images to it. I added my custom image here. But we have a new hashtag, FWCS Integrate Ed. That is something we're using to share out new ideas and stuff. We had an Ignite seminar yesterday with all of our attendees that attended Ignite. And so any new news that we want to share out, if you're in the social networking, add that social networking tag there, and you can follow all our latest updates here from Technology Coordinator Land. Then there's our hashtags down at the bottom if you want to follow Rick or I. Rick, I think, has more people than me right now following him, so you gotta click on @SoundStrong. So Rick, back to you for
3D printing. I want to cover a couple items on the 3D printing. We received a grant for our middle school folks. So if you're a middle school building tech coordinator listening, all the 3D printers have been delivered. We have information out on our technology resource page, which I'll refer to in a moment here. To get you started, there's some walkthrough videos, there's some PDFs that you can watch. But if you get stuck and you need help with 3D setup and you just can't get it done, contact your district tech coordinator and they can get a hold of me and I'll come out and help you take care of that part. So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about,
and this is a big one,
was the Lenovo deployment.
Yep, everybody's going to be happy, especially elementary.
Okay, this is wonderful news here. We are starting to receive some Lenovos at our warehouse, and our project is a 5-year project, so we're ahead of the game on the elementary side of it, and we will be right where we need to be for our middle school folks here soon. But the elementary machines that are coming in, we're going to get rid of some of our legacy equipment, our 255s and our old 650.
Not some, Rick.
All of them.
So
Okay.
all those 255s in elementary and the HPs gone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the middle school level wise, machines are coming in as well. Carts are en route as we speak to help with that, but they will be utilized as replacement machines and some additions to at the middle school level.
Yep.
So
I can hear Forest Park clapping right now because they have a old set of HPs. They just don't even work. So it would be great to get new
that
ones
will
out
be
there
great.
for them.
Still working a little bit on a couple of our high schools, our larger high schools. So, but within our 5-year project, we should be able to make it.
All right.
So,
We told them it was quick. We got about a minute left. Any questions out
Kim
there?
and Joel appreciate your comment, LOL.
All right. Thank you, Kim and Joel.
okay.
All right.
And then the technology resource page, I wanted to show
Yep,
folks how to get
definitely.
to
Let's
that.
show them
So
that.
flip on back to that if you will, Steve. So when you log in, you land on your portal landing page. Just make sure you click your extras tab. And when you select your extras tab, you come down to the bottom. You'll see the technology resource page here. Give it a moment here once it plays catch up. Okay. As you can see there's pages on the left that talk all about different subjects and topics that we're covering. There's your land school page. And we also have some other things as far as 3D printing that's on there. You can find additional 3D printing information if you're a middle school person under the middle school content for science.
Awesome, Rick. And then one last question we just got in, middle school iPads. We will be taking those as well.
Yeah.
Our hope, and I think it's going to happen, is by the start of school next year, we'll be 1-to-1 in all middle schools. So teachers will have a Lenovo device, touchscreen, and students will as well. So we won't need iPads there. So those will be collecting at the end of the school year as well.
Okay. And then did you have a joke that you wanted to tell, or did you want me to
I
tell
think
it?
you did, Rick.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
he had
did
a joke earlier
today. So this is a knock-knock joke. Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Butch, Jimmy, and Joe.
Butch, Jimmy, and Joe who?
Put your arms around me, Jimmy a kiss, and Joe home.
All right, Rick.
All right.
Oh,
I
man.
know.
All right.
That's a safe joke you tell people.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so don't forget, we'll be back here next month in November. We got the date on the screen for that there. And any other questions, just shoot your technology coordinator that question. You can pick any of us if you're at one of Shannon's schools. We don't want to miss out on you guys either. And so I think Shannon will be back for the next one. So thank you so much for joining in, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Happy Halloween.